Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ad-Darsu al-Thaminu, the eighth lesson. وزن مضارع فعل من الثلاثي المجرد. Now we have learnt the mudari, the present tense scale of فعل من الثلاثي المجرد from the simple trilateral verb. So فعل, if you want to conjugate it to the present tense form, so which scale is it going to be on? So we've already learnt that's fa'ula yaf'ulu, and this is its only scale, yaf'ulu, when it comes to the past tense, when it comes to mudari'. So now we want to move on to fa'ila. So how do we conjugate fa'ila when it comes to its present tense form? Amthilatun, examples. Hafidha al-mujtahidu durusahu, the hard-working one or the hard-working person memorized his lessons, or hafidha can either mean memorized, or he memorized, or he preserved. So let's just use he memorized. La'iba al-waladu, so hafidha al-mujtahidu durusahu, the hard-working one memorized his lessons. La'iba al-waladu bil-kurati, the boy played with the ball. Yahfadhu al-mujtahidu durusahu, the hard-working person is memorizing his lessons. Yal'abu al-waladu bil-kurati, the boy is playing with the ball. Sharib al-maridu ad-dawa'a, the patient drank the medicine. Yashrabu al-maridu ad-dawa'a, the patient is drinking the medicine. Waritha al-waladu abahu, the boy inherited his father. Wathiqa tilmidhu binafsihi, the pupil trusted itself. Yarithu al-waladu abahu, the boy is inheriting his father. Yathiqu tilmidhu binafsihi, the pupil trusts itself, or is trusting itself. Because I've said okay, so the present tense in Arabic, it works for like three things. One, it works for continuous tense, it works for the normal present tense, so it works for the future tense too. So what do I mean by it works for continuous tense? So if I say yathiqu tilmidhu binafsihi, then that will be the pupil is trusting itself, or yashrabu al-maridu ad-dawa'a, the patient is drinking the medicine. Or for future tense, yashrabu al-maridu ad-dawa'a, the patient will drink the medicine. Although most times we use sin or sawfa, but sometimes you don't need to use sin or sawfa, and it will still mean it will still show it is a future tense depending on the context. And then for the normal present tense, yashrabu al-maridu ad-dawa'a, the patient drinks the medicine. Yathiqu tilmidhu binafsihi, the pupil trusts itself. So I hope that is clear. Then the last section, we have hasiba, it thinks. Yahsabu, hasiba, it thoughts. Yahsabu is thinking, or it thinks. Wa yahsibu, same thing. Ya'isa, he despaired. Ya'asu, it despairs, or is despairing, it's despairing. Wa yaisu, the same thing. Al-bahthu, ikra okay, so when I said the same thing, what I'm trying to say is that in terms of its meaning, the same thing, but you can see there's a difference. We have yahsabu, the ainul fi'l, it has fatha, yahsabu. Then the second one, yahsibu, so the ainul fi'l sin, it has kasra this time around. So when I say the same thing, what I'm saying is that the meaning is the same thing. Al-bahthu, ikra al-amthilata al-ula, sorry, ikra al-amthilata al-ula, read the first set of examples. ترى فيها هذه الأفعال الماضية, you will see these past tense verbs. Hafidha, la'iba, shariba. So you can see them. So by the way, just to digress a little bit, Iqra al-amthilata al-ula taro. Taro, why is the taro without the alif maksuro at the end? Why is it not taro? Why is it taro? Why is the alif maksuro at the end deleted? Why? Because the Iqra, we call it fi'lu talab, and we call taro jawabu talab. So from the i'rab of jawabu talab is that it is like the jawabu shart. It will always be majzoom. It will be in a state of jazmu, and in a state of jazmu the verb will end with sukun, and in a situation whereby the verb is ending with maybe harfu illa, maybe alif or waw or yaw, one of the three huruful illa, then the harful illa will be deleted to represent the jazmu sign, which is the sukun. So that's why we have taro. So that's how it always is. So we have the fi'l talab, which is the fi'l amri, then we have jawabu talab. So طيب حفظ لعب شرب بكسر العين. We can see that the ain al-fi'l as what? It has kasra. So that's what the author is saying. Jazawallahu khairan. كما تجد مضارعها هكذا. As you also see the present tense of these verbs like this. هكذا, like this. يحفظ, يلعب, يشرب. So you can see in the example section. يشرب بفتح العين. This time around, the عين الفعل as فتحة. على وزن يفعل. On the scale of what? يفعل. وهو الغالب. And this is the most common. So when you see a past tense verb on the scale of fa'ila, the most common thing is that the present tense form is going to be on the scale of what? يفعل. This is the most common, most times. وَقْرَأَ الْأَمْثِلَةَ الثَّانِيَةَ. Read the second set of examples. تجد, you can see تجد, I said تجد, I didn't say تجد. Why again? Because this is jawabu talab. That is, this command we are giving you, if you do it, this is going to be the result. So that's the meaning of jawabu talab. طيب تجد هذين الفعلين. You will see these two verbs, ورث وثق, ومضارعها يثق يرث, على وزن يفعل. So the present tense form of these verbs are يثق يرث respectively. على وزن يفعل, on the scale of يفعل, بكسر العين, with the second letter of the verb, the عين الفعل having كسرة. وهي أفعال محصورة. And they are verbs that they are limited when it comes to their type. So we have waritha, waliya, warima, wari'a, wamiko, wariya, wathiko, wafiko. وتأمل الأمثلة الأخيرة. So ponder on the last set of examples. تقرأ, you will read حسب, يحسب, ويحسب. ويائس ييئس وييأس بالكسر في الماضي أيضا. That is, the past tense scale is final. Don't forget, we are treating the scale of final in the past tense. We want to know how the present tense is going to be. ولكن المضارع يشتمل على شكل ما للقسمين السابقين. نعم يشتمل على شكل ما للقسمين السابقين is consisting of the form the past two set of examples, past two sections they take. So in the first section we have fa'ila yaf'alu, then the second section we have fa'ila yaf'ilu. So that's what is being said there, that this last section comprises of the two types, that is yaf'alu and yaf'ilu in the present tense form. Ani, the author is saying now, Ani, the author is said, I mean Ani, كسر العين وفتحها معا. That is, كسر العين, the ain al-fi'l is taken on كسر وفتحها معا, and then it can also take on fatih at the same time. وهي أيضا أفعال محصورة. They are also verbs that their types are limited. نستحضر هذه القاعدة مما تقدم. That is, we discuss this قاعدة in what is to follow. Now, the principle. Now, خلاصة الفعل الثلاثي المجرد على وزن فاعل. The simple trilateral verb on the scale of فاعل بالكسر, that is, the عين الفعل has كسرة, له ثلاثة أحوال في عين مضارعه. It has three conditions when it comes to the عين الفعل of its مضارع. الأولى, the first, يفعل. It can be يفعل بالفتح, that is, the عين الفعل will have فتحة. وهو الغالب, this is the most common. مثل, like يلعب, because the past tense is لعب. يلعب, يحفظ, يشرب, mean حفظ, شرب, and لعب. الثانية يفعل, so it can be on the scale of يفعل بالكسر. So that is, the عين الفعل is going to have كسرة in the present tense form. وهو نادر, it is rare. محصورة في ثمانية أفعال, it is restricted to 8 verbs, and they are ورث, وثق, ولي, ورم, ورع, ومق, وري, وفق. So their meanings are in the footnotes. Let's just go through it very quickly. ولي الأمر يلي ولاية بكسر الواو وفتحها. قام به وملكه, that is the meaning of ولي الأمر. If they say that someone إذا قيل أن الشخص قد ولي الأمر, هذا في الماضي وفي المضارع يلي ولاية, that is governing maybe a state. ولاية بكسر الواو, that is, we can say ولاية وفتحها. We can also say ولاية. So if you notice, that's why the Nigerian states, if you want to pronounce the states, if you want to say the state in Arabic, we'll say Wilaya to Oshun, Wilaya to Oyo, Wilaya to Washington, wa mashba dhalik. So what is the meaning? Waliya قام به وملكه. If they إذا قيل أن شخصا ولي الأمر أي قام به وملكه, that is, the person is undertaking the state, is undertaking a task, is governing the state, wamalakau, and the person owns the state. That is, the dominion of the state is to the person. Of course, to Allah belongs the absolute dominion, but we are just saying this in terms of the governance among men. Warima al-jarhu yarimu idhan tafakha. So warima al-jarhu, al-jarhu is a wound. Sorry, I said jarhu, al-jurhu. So إذا انتفخ الجرح يعني sorry ورم الجرح يرم, that is إذا انتفخ, that is when the wound got bigger, like the wound got bigger and got blown up. BLOWN. warima anfuhu إذا غضب, or warima anfuhu, that is his nose. Warima anfu إذا غضب, when he gets angry. Normally when some people get angry, their nose, it's kind of how is it said? I don't want to say it gets bigger, but there's a way it flares. Yeah, it flares up. There's a way it flares up. Now, ورع الرجل عن الشبهات إذا عف عنها وتركها. When they say ورع الرجل, that is إذا عف عنها, that is when he refrains himself and refrain from the shubhat, from the doubts, even when he's capable of wading into it. That's the meaning of iffa. So that's why we ask for iffa. That's why when they want to describe a chaste person, they will say the person is dhu iffatin. That is, the person is capable of engaging in indecencies, but the person decides not to do it. Watarokaha, and then he left it. Wathiko bihi idha ائتمنه واعتمد عليه واتخذه ذا أمانة. Wathiqa, the meaning of wathiqa means إذا ائتمنه, when he trusts him, واعتمد عليه, and he relies on him, واتخذه ذا أمانة, and it sees the person as a person of amana, the person of that can keep trust, that is trustworthy. ومكه يمكه ومكن إذا أحبه ووده, when he loves something dearly, so they will say ومكه. وري المخ الذي في العظم, العظم إذا اشتد وكنز أو كنز وهو من علامات السمنة. وري المخ, that is when the bone marrow, when they say it is وري في العظم إذا اشتد, like when the bone gets strong, when it reached its peak in terms of strength, وكنز, and it gathers up, وهو من علامات السمنة. This is from the sign of chubbiness or fatness. When someone is chubby, when someone is fat, when you see this person is feeding well. وفقت أمرك تفقه إذا صادفته موافقا وملائما. So they will say wafiqa when something coincides with maybe what you intended to do before. So wafiqta amrak tafiquhu idha sadaftahu. When you are planning something and then it just falls into place. Now, so that's it for the meaning of those verbs. الثالث يفعل ويفعل بالوجهين. That is, it can come in either of the two forms, either يفعل or يفعل. There are some verbs like that, but they are very limited to. الفتح والكسر, that الفتح والكسر, that is, they can come with the fatha on the ayn al-fi'l or kasra on the ayn al-fi'l. وذلك نادر أيضا. That is also rare. محصور في تسعة أفعال, limited and restricted to 9 verbs. First one, حسب وغر وحر نعم يئس ولها يبس بئس وهلا. So let's look at the meaning of these verbs and then we'll round up the lesson. حسب يحسب بمعنى ظن, that is, a thought, is thinking. والكسر مع شذوذه أفصح. والكسر, that is, if it comes with the kasra on the ayn, despite the fact that this is rare, afsah, this is more eloquent in speech. When we say yahsibu, so it is more eloquent in terms of Arabic eloquence than to say yahsabu. But the both is correct. Wagiro sadruhu yagiru wa yawgaru. So you can say either yagiru, that is on the scale of yaf'ilu, or you can say yawgaru on the scale of what? On the scale of yaf'alu. So you can see that when it is on the scale of yaf'ilu, those verbs like that starts with waw, like wathiko, wagiro, wa mashba dhalik, you notice that when it is conjugated to present tense, the waw is removed. So that's how it is. We will learn what happens later. Why is it that way? But for now, let's just be sufficient little by little, so that it will not be too burdensome. Now, إذا توقد واشتعل غيظا وغضبا. So if something is ignited and flare up in fury and anger, so they will say what? They will say wagiro sodruhu. Sodru means chest. So wagiro sodruhu, that is, they will use it to describe who. So someone who is fury and anger is ignited and is flaring up. Wahiro sadruhu yahiru wa yawharu. That is wahiro, you can say yawharu or yahiru. Idha mtala'a hikdan wa bugdan. If the person's heart is full of enmity and hatred. Waliha yalihu wa yawlahu fahuwa walihun. That is, you can either say yalihu or yawlahu. Fahuwa walihun, this is the ismul fa'il. Walhanu إذا كاد يذهب عقله لفقد حبيب من أهل ومال. They will use this wahila to describe someone who, as a result of the fact that he is bereaved of a very loved one, or maybe a property. So the way the impact is going to be on him, and the way he's going to react, it will be as if he is almost losing his senses, almost running mad. Nam طيب وهل يهل وهلا إذا فزع, or when it gets frightened, seriously frightened. وهل عن الشيء, that is, he runs away from something because he's very frightened. Nam يبس يبئس ويبأس إذا ساءت حاله ضد نعيم. Okay, ضد نعيمة. Well, okay, طيب. So إذا ساءت حاله, when his condition is worse, when his condition was worse, or it gets worse, so they will say yab'asu. Diddu, I think what they're saying here is diddu na'ima, that is the opposite of na'ima. So wallahu a'lam. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.